Good afternoon. Welcome back to Three Swords Gaming. We are continuing our Guild Wars 2 personal story playthrough in Visions of Eternity, the new expansion. So, last installment, last chapter, last episode, last time we were here, we discovered that the Inquest had sailed out of Lion's Arch in a number of ships, and I think they actually give that number as 5. But anyway, a fleet of Inquest has headed out for the island of Castora, which is apparently a mysterious place full of magic and having some untapped power. So we have decided, with the help of Saida, that we are going to follow them and find out what shenanigans, which is sanctioned apparently by some on the High Council in Radasum, what shenanigans they are up to and whether or not it is a threat. We need to determine that. So we're going to do that right now. Apparently, this is a dangerous trip, so we will undoubtedly have some sort of adventure in this process, which is a video game, so we should have some sort of adventure in this process, right? So who do we got ahead of us? Well, we have a worker, a dock worker, another dock worker, so at least 3 workers, none of whom are actually relevant to the story. We got Isgarin up here. It's one of Saida's people. Ritlock, Kanak, Saida. Okay, let's find out what's going on. Let's go talk to these hooligans. People gathered around Saida here. Alright, Saida.
Commander, we've been cleared to sail. Our crew's all here, just getting things boarded up and ready to go.
I don't know if I'm impressed or deeply concerned about this lineup.
It's all the Alliance could sanction at the last minute. Everyone is a little at odds on how to approach this one. They're intrigued by Castora, but a bigger fleet would need more consensus, and we don't want to give the Inquest leeway. Oh, and you're in charge.
I'm what?
We were just making our acquaintance with your darling friend Isgarin. Tell me, does the Astral Ward invest?
I didn't think we were here for profiteering.
After Councilor Ludo informed the Alliance of the Inquest's movements, I thought my expertise would be beneficial to all. This Castora is a dangerous place, from what I've heard.
And Kanak will be lending the Martingale in supplement to my own ship, the Dark Leviathan. Baby's first voyage.
And if she gets scratched, I will scream.
Then that leaves you, Ritlock. Are you here for pleasure, punishment, or both?
Carisha thought I could use some air. If I had to keep listening to Bangar's rhetoric, I'd probably be in a cell too.
When do we set sail?
As soon as you tell us to.
Then let's get going.
Okay, before we actually get going, so it's interesting to me that this little excursion requires the Alliance hacking off on it. This is like a sanctioned thing from the Tyrian Alliance, which presumably then included Ludo. Like, did Ludo persuade them that this is a worthwhile venture? Are they bankrolling this? It seems to be that way. So it's kind of an interesting thing versus the commander, who presumably, since as far as we can tell, there are 2 ships, the Martingale and the Dark Leviathan. Is that what it was? Saida's ship? Dark Leviathan. I like the contrast between Martingale and Dark Leviathan. That's a lot of fun. And I genuinely mean that. I'm not being facetious. Really cool. Because both are also, like, great names for, like, piratey sort of vessels and stuff. Like, that range in terms of how pirates might name their vessels is kind of a fun thing. So some interesting stuff there. Isgarin's presence is a little interesting, and there's a lot more that kind of lends insight to that as we go forward. So I don't want to go too far into it right now, but I will say, even on my first playthrough, like, I was like, huh, like, Ritlock being with us, like, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense in the story. It makes some sense in the story. Kanak makes some sense. Now that we're actually going on a naval voyage, Saida makes a ton of sense. And then Isgarin, like, okay. So even on my first playthrough, this kind of set off, like, some, like, I don't want to say alarm bells, but, like, I found it odd. Finally, one interesting thing that Ritlock mentions, which is him having to put up with Bangar, and I thought that was really weird because, like, one would think that the Char would have just put Bangar down by now. You know, that goes back to all the way back to Icebrood Saga, our interactions with Bangar. And so this was like 5 years ago. It was 5 years ago now that we were dealing with Bangar. In fact, I think, let's see, when I came back from Afghanistan, I think the Civil War was still happening. So in the next couple months, it will have been 5 years since Bangar was actually corrupted. And yet, he's still a thing. I find that curious. I don't know if ArenaNet's saving him for something, or if that was just like a weird, like, little mention for Ritlock to make. I don't know. I don't even know that I love it either. I prefer that they just put Bangar away, but okay. Cool art, man. You know what that actually reminds me of? If you're into, like, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe series, the Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That's what that reminds me of.
Weather sure took a turn. I should track down Saida.
Yes, I should. But before I do that, a series I absolutely loved as a kid, and I do mean that. I read all those books. I read the entire series probably 5 to 7 times as a kid, and do not regret it at all. Fantastic fantasy series, especially for young folks. But even if you're an adult, it's worth a read. And this has that vibe, that Voyage of the Dawn Treader vibe, sailing into the true unknown, which is what that particular book was about. In a true, like, fantasy sense. And we get that here. I gotta say, ArenaNet, an amazing job. This is a new model. I'm not sure Canuck's ship is. That kind of might be the classic Guild Wars 2 sailing vessel model. This is a new model of a ship. And we even will pass through, like this is really cool. Go. Where, like, we're in the interior here as we pass from the top deck to the bottom. We got names that we should recognize. Narcisse from the Wizard's Court here. I don't remember if Scout Yakudi appears in anything else, but Narcisse definitely was a prominent figure in Secrets of the Obscure. So really cool things going on here in terms of this vessel. And this instance is actually, I'm not going to say a lot of fun, because there are times when I actually find it a little unfun. But they did a lot with this instance, and I want to give a lot of credit to ArenaNet for this instance as a whole. Yeah, I don't know that this is actually, like, their normal model for a ship in Guild Wars 2. Oh. Yeah, that's one of the annoying things about this instance. Something about the way they designed this particular vessel. If you get close to these cannons, it transports you back to the middle of the ship to keep you from falling into the sea, I guess. So that's kind of annoying. Yeah, so we got, like, a big iron thing on the front of Canuck's ship there, and so forth. Alright, Saida and First Mate Kyonga, what's going on?
Look who's awake. I swear, you slept for half the journey, Commander.
I don't know how you get any rest on this vessel.
Probably would have kept sleeping if the weather hadn't turned. Wish I were in Salma, snoozing in the sun.
Storms have only just begun. I expect things to get much more bumpy. Wait, did you hear that?
I did. I did hear that. Great! Alright, and so, a few more thoughts on this whole, like, naval expedition and, like, what they did with the ship here and stuff. I have actually always wanted this to be a thing, where you do, like, a naval thing, and this is where me getting transported back to the middle of the ship is going to be frustrating if I'm fighting an enemy, like, over here on the edge of the ship. Little side note there for one of the things that kind of hurts the instance. But overall, I love this. We're sailing, and the vessel gets boarded, and we, like, battle the boarders and stuff.
On my way.
So I'm really pleased with this idea that they implemented. And it is fun. It is cool. It leads me to another thing, and I think I said this in a video once, but I would never, considering my viewership tends to be between 5 and 10 per video, I would never expect anyone to, like, go back and try and find this. Somewhere in an old video, I talked about my vision of what housing should be, and I said they had, because they had both ships and airships in the game, that, like, I envisioned a ship or an airship where you could put down, like, the decorations for your housing would be like they have here with boxes and cannons, and, you know, you could change, like, I forget what that's called, but, like, the stuff on the prow of the ship, and you could change, like, the sails and stuff like that, and buy those things on the gem store. And while that's not the direction they went, this instance reinforces kind of my vision for what it could have been. And I genuinely believe it could, and it would have been vessels like this, not like the Martingale here. And so, by changing some of this kind of stuff, the cladding and things that were all around the vessel, it would have, like, the personalization would have been immense, and it would have been really cool. Hey, actually put that fire out. Come on. So when I encounter this instance for the first time, it made me, like, almost nostalgic for something that never existed, if that makes any sense. It was pleasing, though. It wasn't a negative thing. It wasn't like I thought to myself, oh, if only they had done, you know, my idea, because my idea was great. It just was like, oh, I got to kind of experience a tiny bit of my idea in a way that was very positive. Because overall, while I don't love every little part of this instance, I do enjoy a lot of things about it, and overall, I think it's a good instance. We'll get to the part I don't enjoy here in a minute, and I'll talk about why it is that I don't enjoy that. But first, let's limp through, because I am terrible at this game. Let's limp through this combat sequence here.
Time to do some real damage. Look.
Something is attacking the Dark Leviathan.
So this is really interesting.
I've never had the cannons repaired.
Canuck never had the cannons repaired. Canuck?
Try not to take out Saida's ship.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to take out Saida's ship by throwing harpoons, but okay. So the first time I did this, I did not listen to the dialogue where Ritlock said, use these harpoons. And I jumped over to Saida's ship and started fighting these tentacles manually. Which you can do with ranged weapons, you cannot do with melee. Or you can't do it easily with melee, at least. Maybe some melee. Like, I think in Reaper Shroud I was able to do some damage to him. But mostly, you're intended to use the harpoons, right? I do wonder if there's a hidden achievement for killing them without using the harpoons, but it would be a real pain in the ass, and I haven't actually tried that yet. One of these days I'll circle back around and try. Okay, we fought off the baddies, Saida.
I don't like this fog.
It has a magical quality to it. Stings the senses. Even I cannot look beyond with a bare eye.
It's scrambling our navigation instruments, too. I can't tell where we are. I can't see anything.
Captain, we're being attacked by crabs.
What? Oh, crabs. So I do have an interesting little observation about the fog. Now, one, I want to say, I love the fog. This is like a classic, like, fantasy seafaring thing, the impenetrable fog and, like, the horrors that lie within it. And I really like it. Really like it. So please don't get the impression that I am like, oh, this fog is stupid. I love it. However, what I don't like is what the fog is in contradiction to, which is when Saida was initially telling us about Castora, what she said was, if you sail... Yeah, I'm headed over there, Saida. I'll go help Canuck. If you sail out of your way, if you get a little bit lost while sailing to Cantha, you can see Castora. Well, now we are on our way to Castora, and there's this fog that obscures everything. So we have this little problem in the dialogue. Now, maybe I misinterpreted the dialogue, and that's not exactly... Saida didn't mean you could, like, literally see Castora or something. I don't know. But that's what she said, and this fog would indicate otherwise. So I kind of have a minor, admittedly minor complaint with that. That Saida's whether it's like an unreliable narrator thing or whether it's just an incongruency in their writing. It doesn't make sense in light of what we're experiencing right now. Now, there is an alternate explanation that I don't want to get into right now because it's a story spoiler, and we don't want that. So instead, let's go back to the other ship and talk to Isgarin about the fog.
Starting to understand why no one gets this far. I'll steer us straight into a rock at this rate.
Isgarin?
What do we do?
This fog. The magic has tried to obfuscate our senses by manipulating the atmosphere around us. It's a very complicated spell. But if I can isolate the energies into distilled pockets of the magic's purest form, we may be able to see through it. It will take all of my focus to maintain these pockets. Wayfinder, you will need to guide us.
Willing to give it a try.
Saida, man the ship. I will begin when the Wayfinder is ready. I will channel the energies in the air while you collect them. You should be able to see a break in the path.
Okay, so before we start grabbing this magic, I don't think I'm on any sort of timer right here. In fact, let's also grab whatever that is before. Alright, I want to talk a little bit about this sequence. This is the sequence I don't like, because the indicators that Isgarin is talking about here aren't very clear. Now, they don't want to just give us arrows, because that's not fun, but it's just kind of messy. So instead, if you were playing through this, and I wouldn't expect someone to use my story playthroughs as a guide, that would actually be kind of dumb. Again, I'm not that good at this game. But if you were to do that, here's something to consider. Look at the map that we are in. That is clearly Castora. As we get lost in the fog, the ship is going to meander across here. When we are navigating, if we are going up, turn left. If we are going down, turn right. Drive towards the western edge if you can't see the actual indicators. Also, another mistake I made on my first playthrough, I was very confused about how to grab this magic because some of it is like out of reach. Button 1 down here, Astral Leap, crazy jump. So, like, I made this much harder than it needed to be. I was like, gliding from the launch pad, because we can go over to the other ship and also grab these things, and just kind of making it a much more complicated process than it needed to be. It's actually very easy to get the magic. Just use your big jump on 1. Okay, climb the rat lines. This is the part that is not fun. You see that? That was the indicator right there. Turn left. See how we're going north? Turning left will turn us west. That is actually, if you don't know to look for it,
We're safe to sail on.
it's hard to see, especially when it happens immediately after getting up there. Confusing process.
Captain, do you see
But there
that?
you go. Okay,
Yes.
they
It's been
turn
here
the
for a
screen to
while.
enable you to
We're
see
probably
whatever
sailing
they're
over a
talking about
graveyard.
each time, which is crashed vessels. That's going to happen several times. They're going to freeze the perspective so that you can see. And I like this. I like it creates this idea of like a very ominous passage through these rocks and stuff. That is a lot of fun. Just if that's confusing why when you're playing through why they suddenly lock the perspective, they want you to look the direction that Kiongo and Isgarin and Saida are looking. Because it's part of the storytelling. It's visual storytelling. They want to reinforce how treacherous all
Once
this
more,
is.
Wayfinder, you must collect the coalesced energy and guide us.
Really minor complaint. Isgarin will say that several times. It's clearly not once more when it happens several times. They just reuse that dialogue. And I wish they had gone ahead and gone through the little bit of trouble, I'm sure, of recording multiple dialogues versus him saying once more Wayfinder like 2 or 3 times. But that is, admittedly, a pretty minor complaint. Just not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. I also find it very interesting that you can glide from one ship to the other like that, showing that this is all like one playing space. Okay, see that? Left again.
Head to port.
Got it. We're safe
Yes.
to sail on.
Port in naval terms, though port has nothing to do with left and right. It's in relation to your direction of travel, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, what are we going to see again? And we are actually turning on the map,
Glad we didn't hit those.
and now it freezes our perspective again. It is frightening. Is it frightening? Are you frightened, Isgarn? All right. You can see the wreckage of ships there and stuff. This is really good. It really is. And now we overcompensate, so now we're almost going south. Good job, Saida. Like, who's actually steering? Saida's down here. I don't actually see where this particular vessel steered. I assume it's up there somewhere.
Quickly, Wayfinder, while the magic is coalesced.
Oh, I digress. That was different dialogue. I am 99% certain he will use the once more dialogue once more. But I guess there is a little more diversity in dialogue than I had appreciated, so I take back my slander on Isgarin and ArenaNet's voice acting, I guess.
Head to starboard. Got it. We're safe to sail on.
Are we? How does Saida know that? Like, she's a very trusting person. Alright. Look out this side of the ship this time.
That looks like a modern vessel. Or what remains of one.
Inquest.
I will confess having to suspend a little disbelief that, like, there weren't other adventurers or explorers who had at least tried to make the trip between some unclear period of time hundreds of years ago and now, when the Inquest did it, and now us.
I've distilled the energies so you can collect them once more, Wayfinder.
Thanks, Isgarn. So that, again, was different dialogue. So apparently I'm completely wrong about the dialogue, or they've had about 10 patches over the last few days, like, since it's been more than a few days. I think it's been over a week now. Yeah, in fact, it has been. It's been over a week. They've had a lot of patches since they released this expansion. So it may be that I was wrong, and I 100% acknowledge that. Or it may be that they actually addressed the dialogue thing. Maybe there was always. Oh, I'm gonna struggle to get to that one. Maybe there was always intended to be more dialogue, and it was, glitching on the same dialogue or something. No idea. No idea. I don't know what happens if you actually fall in the sea. I assume it just kills you or puts you back on a ship, or I don't know. Okay, that is straight ahead, by the way. It just kind of blinks right there, which is a very weird. You can see it kind of moves forward. That's what that is. But you can also see on the map, we are going west, which is what we want to do, right? And yes, I'm watching the Martingale for a reason.
What? What was that?
The Martingale!
Canuck!
Please!
What is that thing?
I don't know. It's using a bow as a shield.
Ropes overboard! Now!
Minor
Save as
complaint.
much as you can!
I have done this instance 3 times now, and I can never see when they say, "What is this thing?" I can't see a thing. I hear the noise, and they say, "What is it?" You know, and they say, "What is that thing?" And the ship gets destroyed. But I wish we saw like giant tentacles wrap around the ship or something, and I feel like that was the intent. But
Consider my salary tripled, Canuck!
here, let's get Dax, since he's apparently very upset. Oh, is Pax's girlfriend? We better get her too. So, you know, obviously we get all these people out of the water. But the first time I played through, there was like very much like a sense of like wanting to get certain people out and stuff.
My darling. My Martingale. She... Can I get a little empathy?
We have crew to account for first. Then you can mourn that damn ship.
Don't trust water that I can't see the bottom of!
Just a little farther now.
Really appreciate Canuck's dialogue there. This is fantastic. That's a nice cutscene right there. It's not even that the graphics are amazing. It's kind of blurry. Not super spectacular graphics, but less impressive here. I don't know what's wrong with Saida's face. It's all kind of twisted up.
Trees. The rock formations. Coursing with magic. This must be Castora.
So it is.
Great job on the ship. Great cutscene. Really nails the feeling of a maritime adventure of piracy in the seas. Fantastic loading screen. Again, nails it. And the vessel appears the same in both, and it's beautiful. Artists did a fantastic job with this expansion. So now we're getting to see Castora here. Welcome to the first map of the new expansion. And it looks fantastic. Of course, the last few, going all the way back to End of Dragons, their introduction, this introduction screen that they do, which I think they started doing that with End of Dragons. I don't recall it with Pathfire or anything. This has become a very good thing with the expansions. Always a beautiful introduction. And I think End of Dragons may actually have been the most impressive, but this one is very close. Really, just really fantastic job by the artists. Can't say that enough. And we have docked, or we've thrown a plank down to a rock, I guess. Saida, what are your thoughts on the trip?
Everyone holding up?
We're fine. Could have been a lot worse. Most of the crew went ashore. Needed some firmer ground beneath their boots.
All right, good. I'll head that way.
Do me a favor and grab one of those crates. Just food. Shouldn't be heavy. Kyongo's taking inventory of what we've got left. I'll be right behind you. Need to make note of any damages so I can get her patched. Probably won't be journey ready for a while.
Okay. It's kind of fun. There is actually like a status effect for a big stack of crates. These heavy boxes need to be unloaded and brought ashore. Bringing them all in one trip is simply being efficient. So I kind of got the first time I noticed that. I don't even know what prompted me to look for a status effect. Normally I wouldn't have even looked at that. But I do kind of get a kick out of them taking the time to again, the attention to detail in this expansion has actually been really, really good. Hey, Kyongo, I brought boxes.
Aye. Thanks, Commander.
You're welcome.
Heck of a cleanup job ahead of us. Canuck's ship is All over the bay. We don't have eyes on all the crew yet, either. But we made it. Hopefully the inquest don't get too far ahead of us while we collect ourselves.
All right, and introduction to the first series of masteries. Presumably there will be several. Oh, just color piling upon color here. Stealthy Survivor. Learn how to use the helpful castaway supplies to move carefully among the land's hostile inhabitants. I have yet to identify the use for this. And really, this entire mastery line feels very... except for this one. Resourcefulness is really, really good. The rest of this, I have not... This gives you more loot, so I guess kind of good. But, like, I've already completed almost all the masteries for this expansion on my main account. Because I've been playing more than I had on the last couple expansions. But these castaway supplies, I've not yet identified an actual purpose for that. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And it actually makes me feel kind of stupid, but... so here's one right here, which I don't think we can do anything with it yet. Like, I don't think it's going to tell us nope when we try to... Yeah, you need... But even when we get this mastery, which we're going to have to do, by the way, to advance the story, so we'll do that soon enough. It's going to be a priority for us to unlock not only that, but also when we get to Skimmer adaptation down here, we'll have to unlock the first one of those too to advance the story. So advancing mastery will be a priority, and I'll tell you, if I have to just grind that, I'm going to do it off video. I'm not going to include it. But the way to do it will be rifts, which I maintain, and I've said this since Soto. I consider rifts non-content, but they are useful for advancing your masteries quickly. So I guess there's that. Oh, hi, Isgarin. Oh, Isgarin, before I talk to Isgarin here, I want to note something in that previous cutscene that led us to shore here. She said, this must be Castora, and Isgarin says, so it is. The first time I played through this, that really jumped out at me. Isgarin knew, and I think they want to communicate this, Isgarin knows this is Castora. The moment he did that, even on my first playthrough, I said, Isgarin has been here before. Which I think they want you to get that impression. I think that is... you are meant to be under that impression at this part of the storyline. I'm not going to go further in depth, but I do want to communicate that. Isgarin.
It was unpleasant.
You seemed fine on the ship. Happy to have your boots on solid ground?
I've no need of solid ground.
Right. Should have just floated here then, wizard.
Had I done so, Bottom Feeders would now be picking your fur from...
What's the damage assessment, Captain?
Kiango's getting a handle on that now. The Leviathan seems to be in good shape. Canuck's ship, on the other hand...
She's gone, gently nudging the coral on the seafloor. Ah, sweet martingale. Such a tragedy.
Most of your crew made it off the ship. Could have been a lot worse.
Yes, of course.
This place is not as I expected. The danger is palpable.
I'll do a bit of scouting while you all sort things out and console our grieving friend here.
If you find any bits or bobs of value, bring them back, will you? I'll need to recoup my losses somehow.
So recouping his losses is kind of an interesting thing for Canuck, because as you'll recall, after End of Dragons and... I don't think it ever popped up in Soto or Janthier Wilds. I don't think we've seen Canuck since End of Dragons, though I could be mistaken. But after End of Dragons, Canuck was like fabulously wealthy, right? With his bets in the casino in Path of Fire, and then running a casino in End of Dragons and so forth. So, yeah, that apparently he invested a portion of that into that ship and has lost. I think this is part of an achievement. Oh. Well, let's read this then. I hadn't actually looked at this before, even on my main account, because I don't kind of get into that much. Isgarin, couldn't find you this morning for a chat, so I left this brief of what I wanted to discuss in your robe pocket. Waiting Dawn mentioned you were accompanying the Wayfinder on to more tropical surrounds. She was glad to have the chance to spend time in Omnitas after all this time. I wanted to get her to jot down some notes on the Heart of the Obscure while she's here, but Dagda asked that I not disturb her while she communes with the World Spire. Once again, trying to extract straightforward answers from you Elder Wizards is like trying to pry a diamond from a Skrit's hands. Meanwhile, the Tyrian Alliance continues to drag their heels on our proposal to further assess activity in the Realm of Torment after Cormyr's exodus and other recent events. Do not rule out the possibility that that is foreshadowing to a future expansion. On the flip side, don't ever assume that it is, because you just never know with the internet. My own digging during the Titan mess turned up nothing new. Lucky for us, your expedition into Bavanissos gave you the chance to assess the Foundry, albeit from a distance. Maybe one day the Alliance Council will see the benefit of a more thorough investigation, and I'm sure the players would deeply like that. For now, I've been fielding the occasional request from Ogden Stonehealer since our talks with the Priory began. He and some of the other Deldrimor would like to talk, and I'm of two minds about it, figuratively speaking, because of course, it's a joke. Lear is, like, bifurcated in some way. My facets had some nasty bouts with cryptist possession while you were wrestling with Cirrus. Some of my suppressed memories were dredged to the surface, and, well, let's just say my chances of a family reunion are pretty damn slim. Still, with dwarven memories being what they are, who can say if someone's kept a lantern lit for me, Enough about my own baggage. Enjoy yourself. Let some of the world's weight off those world-bearing shoulders. Safe travels, Lear. Very friendly, very friendly. All right, so we have some story things to do, things that we need to investigate and pick up, both. It's up top up there. All right, well, we'll hit some of these other things first then. And then we also got to grab stuff for Canuck, right? Which it's going to trigger here in a second. I don't know why it...
So much debris. How many ships have crashed here over the years?
A bunch.
Crates from the Martingale. Still intact. I'll bring these back to Canuck.
Yeah, let's do that. Alright, so we got like 2 little green bars here. These are not onerous, like the infamous green bars that we, of course, dislike so much from previous expansions. They've replaced those in this expansion with something else, which I'm not going to get into until we encounter it. It is...
Something from the Martingale?
Yes, Canuck, yes. I think it's an improvement, what they've done. Not everyone likes it. And we'll deep dive that a little bit more. I doubt it'll be this video. I think it's probably going to be the next video. We're at... What are we at? Yeah, we're at almost 40 minutes already. So, probably the next video.
Any gold in there?
Doubtful, Canuck. Maybe grog. Maybe grog.
Managed to recover some useful supplies, at least. That's something.
I appreciate your appreciation, Saida.
Magic here is unlike anything I've seen. Yet, almost familiar somehow. Not much salvageable. Lucky most of the crew survived. Poor Canuck.
Poor Canuck. This is an event I haven't done yet, the whole Ghost Return thing. It feels, when I look at it, like it's a very laborious event. It just, like maybe it's not worth the time investment, so I just haven't brought myself to do it yet. I've done most of the events, however. There are a handful that I still need, and there are achievements associated with, like, do a number of events associated with XYZ. So at some point I will do pretty much every event, because at some point I probably will circle around on my main account and get some of the achievements associated with, like, doing all the events in a certain area, or doing all the events related to pirates, or whatever it is.
I see something out there. People?
I don't actually see the people. I'm not sure what the commander sees. I mean, the commander's correct. There's a village back there, but it's weird that they chose like this vantage point when I don't actually see that. So we got some palm sapling here. This is a good opportunity for me to talk about something that's kind of unrelated to the story. Much like in the last part of Janthier Wilds, when there was like the obsidian and the heated stone or whatever on the map, in this one there are some map currencies as well, but instead of just mining the nodes, you get this resourcefulness mastery, and then you mine normal nodes and you get those currencies. So if you're working on those legendaries, you're going to need to really farm that, but what you're farming, along with, there are other ways of getting it too, but you're also going to farm the heck out of normal nodes all over the map, which the map is, you know, quite large. It's all this. And I kind of like that because it doubles up your motivation for going after those currencies. Not only are you going after those currencies for whatever it is that you want them for, but it feels like more meaningful, more worth your time, because you're also getting Elderwood or Mithril or, Orichalcum or whatever. And with this expansion, they raised... Now, this account, I think my material storage right now is at like 500, but they raised the cap all the way up to 3,000. So you could come into upgrades, buy like the material storage expander, which actually we could do, and I may do that with some of these gems. I did not get the deluxe expansion for this particular account. Yeah, so you can buy 10 more out of a possible, I think, 11 right now. So I think I have raised it once from 250 to 500. I might raise it again from 500 to 750. I'll give it some thought. But if you do that, if you raise it all the way up to 3,000, like I did on my main account, because I did buy the deluxe version on my main account, so I had gems to burn. Then you're going to have some empty space in your material storage to get after Elderwood and Mithril and stuff, and so you're getting that map currency, you're getting the materials, filling up that material storage again. If you're like me, you hoard materials, so you had everything full, or everything that's normally accessible full, and so you're once again filling that stuff up. Canuck.
Salvage some food and medical supplies at least?
Indeed.
Don't suppose you found anything else of value?
I'm afraid that was everything, my friend.
This stuff might not be as valuable as you hoped, but we can definitely use it. Commander, mind handing this out?
I do not mind, Saida. Okay, so we got folks who need various things here. This particular little mechanic, where you see like the medical and the food and stuff, this, as I recall, we first saw in Path of Fire, when we were in a refugee camp, which was a very... a very timely thing for them to introduce in Path of Fire, because refugees were first becoming like a big conversation globally at that point in time, with like Syria being so bad and stuff. I don't think that was intentional on the part of the studio at that time. I think it was coincidental, though I could be wrong. But this is a mechanic that they've included ever since. Like, we've seen this in pretty much every expansion since Path of Fire, and I think it's worked well for them. It served them well. It's not hyper engaging, but it is an effective little thing, and it works for to advance the story here as we are taking care of folks, that have been stranded here on the island, following our shipwreck and so forth. Here's Astral Ward Mage who needs food. So there you go, buddy. All right, Saida.
We've got a visitor. We were just getting to know...
Commander, is it? You in charge here, then? Name's Westergaard.
You've never heard of... When was the last time new survivors arrived here?
I'll let the mayor answer your questions, if he sees fit.
Oh, we're not here to cause any trouble. Trust me.
Trust you? I don't even know you, Captain Salida.
Saida, but that's okay.
And the high-tech weaponry of that last group that showed up seems to be finding its way into the hands of our enemies.
The inquest? Oh, we hate those guys too. I think we're gonna be friends. Why don't we all just come to your village?
No, just the commander here. Come talk to the mayor. Make sure we don't need to shove you all back into the bay.
Wow, that's really aggressive, Westerfield. Like, you might benefit from calming down a little bit. Like, I mean, just like when it comes to, like, relationship building. I mean, you do what you see fit, but, you know, just thought, okay, we're going to go through this little circle here because there's an achievement for that. I think I need one more loop on my main account to get that achievement. I will probably actually do that after this video, if I'm being quite honest. Okay, since we are right here, we are going to grab a hero point real fast. Leave me alone. And I don't think we're going to seek to advance the story any much. I think I'm about to wrap up the video here. Because we will get into some interesting stuff with the next little piece, little portion of the story. Some interesting things that they've decided to do with this expansion, and so I kind of will just put off that conversation till the next video, and we can chat about it then. So I guess we'll wrap things up here. Keep this one a little bit shorter. Here's a nice little view. We'll just camp out right here. We have made it to Castora, at the expense of the Martingale, Canuck ship. However, we have discovered that there are folks living here, shipwreck survivors from some time ago, maybe even generations ago. I think it's realistic to believe, given the fact that on the trip over here, we talked about seeing modern vessels, and that was in reference to the Inquest vessels, so the rest of the ships were not modern vessels. So I guess we're looking at generations here. I mean, we'll see later, we'll see kids run around and stuff, so like clearly as survivors piled up over the years, like an entire society's been built up here. And we're going to get exposed to that in the next episode. But for the time being, making progress. We heard from one of the folks from the settlement here, the only one that we've met so far. What was her name? Westergaard. That they have already had encounters with the Inquest. So we know the Inquest are here. We are here. Other people are here. So shenanigans to follow, I am sure. All right, well, thank you for hanging out with me while we played through this portion of the story. And tomorrow I will continue to capture the story in video, and we'll continue to advance. Thank you, and you have a good one.